Hello everyone, No Life here, and today we'll be going over the patch notes for April 30th update coming out tomorrow for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. So, going off on the changes based on what they said here for the notes, first and foremost, we'll be now getting blacked out cosmetics for all characters in the game after you reach level 99. Now, there is one caveat here. They are saying that Virginia will not be getting a blacked out skin right now. She's going to be getting one later, and they also decided not to do a blacked out skin for Leatherface as they'd like to keep his iconic look intact. However, they are instead giving him a blacked out chainsaw instead of a cosmetic to make up for that. Now, I am curious as to what these blacked out skins look like on Johnny and Sissy, as their default outfits already have black in it. At least with Johnny, he'd just be getting blacked pants, but what are they going to be doing for Sissy? Just blacking out her sunflowers. But nonetheless, Sissy is also going to be getting a paid cosmetic in this nice little camo polo shirt that just looks like she stole it from someone in modern times, wearing some vape or whatever. But at the same time, it's still nice that she's getting something that is going to look a bit more unique than the blacked out skins like everyone's getting. Um, I called out that the family cosmetic this week would be Nancy's. Technically, I'm not wrong. I'm guessing Nancy's going to be getting a blacked out skin, and I'm saying she's not, so I'm going to assume her and Danny are as well. But nonetheless, I guess we'll eventually get a bloody skin for Nancy. But the meat and potatoes of this patch are going to be the fixes they did to the game. Now, I usually like to read these live, but I already had some of this stuff spoiled for me, so I just went ahead and read it on my own time. But these uh, these perks that they're going to be changing on this update are a doozy. I could say it right now. This update is most so perk. I can't even say nurse really. It just changes more than actually bug fixes. So enough beating around the bush. Let's just get on into it. So first up, we have fired up. This is a perk that a lot of people have been crying for a nerf due to Hitchhiker's Chase build that he notoriously uses with this perk. However, the nerf that you guys were expecting to have with this perk is not quite as punishing as a lot of people would have wanted it to be. So they have tuned Fire up to reduce the delay of standard regeneration by 25% at level 1, 50% at level 2, and 75% at level 3. That's overall what is that? A 15% delay at level 3, and then it's just simply a 5 and 10 at level 1 and 2. So you're barely going to feel that. In my opinion, if they really wanted to nerf that perk, they would have made it work more like condition on victims, where you have to completely run out of standing before it speeds up that delay. I always thought that was a bug, but I mean, since they're nerfing it, not fixing it, I'm saying that in quotation marks. Apparently, the perk was never bugged and it's working as intended. So moving on, we have a huge one right here. This isn't a nerf to me at all. This is a buff, and that's the scout. They have tuned scout, so now it affects dead and regeneration as opposed to melee damage. So if you're not understanding what that means, right now the way scout works is at all three levels, it will reduce the amount of damage you do up to 10%. With this change, now Scout is not going to be affecting damage at all. That means Leatherface, with his already default 40 savagery, will be able to move faster and still hit just as hard as he does now. However, again, this is going to be huge for Leatherface. It's going to affect his stamina regeneration, which already doesn't mean anything on him. The stamina regeneration is now going to be 20% slower at level 1, 15% slower at level 2, and then 10% slower at level 3. You combine this with Fired Up, which you can pair with just about every fan member except Cook. It's like it's not gonna be doing anything really. Like Scout is now going to be back up to being a meta perk after House of G notoriously said everyone should stop using Scout. It's not as impactful as a lot of people think. There's practically no negative benefits to it, so now there's no reason not to use it. Now, this is where things get very controversial. That's all the perks that's being looked at for family. I mean, there are technically some bug fixes later, but we'll get to that in a bit. We're getting to perks that are just straight up being gutted for victim, and that is going to be extra drip. Extra drip is a perk I said need to be nerfed. I don't really have any concrete videos or whatever showing extra drip being OP, but come on, everybody use it who can get it, so you know it's OP if that many people are using it. So getting on with it here. After using a health item, you will recover 1 HP for 8 seconds at level 1, 2 HP for 10 seconds at level 2, and 3 HP for 12 seconds at level 3. I said extra drip should have been nerfed so that at level 3, it'd be the old level 2 values of 4% and then 10%, but they just straight up cut all the numbers in half, like they always seem to do with victim perks, ironically. And I honestly, we probably should have seen this coming with Virginia's level 3 ability, as it did the same level 3, not level 3, I'm sorry, the 3% health values or whatever. But geez, this perk, I already could say from leveling it up, anything below the 4% you got, well, I keep saying percent, the 4 HP from level 2 is like, barely noticeable. So people probably going to still try to use this extra drip, but you're not going to get any situations where Connie extra drips herself and it just basically tanks hits like she's an honest ability. That is a huge nerf to extra drip that just cannot be understated. And arguably even bigger nerf is going to be an empowered. I don't even need to read all the perk value levels. I'll just say what they're doing to it right now. Empowered will no longer award health from surviving a close encounter. So now, literally, it's just for getting your stamina back. They haven't reduced those numbers across any of the board, the levels here. It's just straight up, you're just not getting health back. So I can already say right now, I'm going to be respecting Ana tomorrow because I went over to the right from the middle of her skill tree to get empowered, as opposed to the left to get grappler. And with and power not even affecting health anymore. There's no reason to even use that perk on her. Who cares about stamina? You just run jump start on her anyway. So I also didn't get that perk as a random on Julie, and I wanted it, but now I don't care about it. I don't think Julie really needs extra step back from fighting people. Like, geesh, yeah, this is power is out of the meta. There's no reason to run that. But what's staying in the meta is going to be grappler. They did nerf grappler, but not quite as hard as I was saying they should have. They nerf grappler, so at level 1 it's going to be 10% easier to win close encounters. Level 2 is going to be 20% easier for close encounters, and then level 3 is going to be 30%. I should said it should have been 10, 15, and 20. At these levels, you're still basically guaranteed to win your fights with 30%, and you're still gonna have an advantage over the fan member by 10% from gravels. There's still a chance that you will lose a fight as a victim if they have a grip on, because that 10% is not gonna do you that much good. But um, I still think grapple is gonna be in the meta. In fact, it's gonna be even more meta on Ana because now, or in Leland too, actually, because there's no reason to run empowered on them anymore after these changes. Now, fast hands is getting nerfed, but not as hard as I suspected them to be. So victims aren't quite losing all their meta perks yet. What they did with fast hands is it's going to be the same 25% and 50% at level 1 and 2. However, level 3 is reduced to 75%. I already can say that 50% felt good on victim. The 25% was like barely noticeable, but at 75%, you're still going to be unlocking the gates and whatnot pretty quick. So it's not a huge nerf to it. One thing they are doing is they're changing the perk functionality, where it says they're fixing an issue where fast hands is awarding lock pick progression regardless of friendly proximity. So this is something I've noticed. It definitely felt like you were getting it when they weren't nearly as close as they should be. In addition to it allowing you to get the bonus like through floors and stuff. So you'd be in the basement, no proximity warning or nothing, and then you're getting the faster um, progression. So it felt more like an early warning that they're close, if anything. So I think that now with it only triggering the 10 meters away from you, it's most likely going to be like when you see the yellow border around your screen. So of course it's overall being nerfed, but just not as hard as I was expecting. So Now, perk that's surprisingly getting buffed is going to be Rescue Medic and Medical Benefits. Both of these perks will now count for Virginia healing another victim with her boon ability. So I'm curious as to how that's going to work. I might actually, honestly, try those perks. I think I have medical benefits on Virginia, so I'll be able to do it with her. I don't know about the rescue medic, so that is going to be cool. Now, another perk that is getting fixed is Head Start. There's an issue with Danny's Head Start where it was incorrectly highlighting all those items for other victims. I personally never seen that. What I have seen, however, is it highlighting the items for way longer than it should have, to the point that I thought that it was like gonna highlight this stuff for all games. So I doubt they fixed that, but it still is nice that it's not highlighting items for victims unnecessarily, as that's not what the perk's supposed to do. Now, a perk that's getting a huge buff is Rough Cut. Rough Cut was currently only affecting basic attacks from Leatherface's chainsaw. Now it's going to be giving him that bleed damage for his overheads as well. Oh, well, it says all attacks, so I'm going to assume it's even for the thrust. So that's going to be huge, as now all of a sudden his rough cuts hits not stacking like they nerfed it a while ago is making more sense, as you combine both a overhead and a basic swing, and that's 14 damage. You might, well, actually, nah. I guess it's just it doesn't stack, so I wouldn't do that. But still, just being able to get those off of the overhead and the basic attacks are still huge for me, in my opinion. But moving on, we have Cook's security pins and his locks in general. They have faced an issue with Cook's locks, where if another family member, I'm pretty sure it was Cook as well, unlocked a gate that was padlocked, it would then lose its security pins functionality until he removed the lock and replaced it. That is going to be huge, as I've definitely had times where I've went through Cook's locks and they're easier than expected, and then I'm going to a different lock and that one had security pins, but it didn't matter at that point because I already picked a way through that gate. I was more so looking at that other lock just for the heck of it, or let's say I did a door at the facility, but they started camping in there. I didn't went to their battery, you know. Sure, it's going to be harder than the one at the facility, but they're probably not patrolling properly now. They're more worried about one side than the other. So big buff on Cook. Although I'm still wondering if they're going to ever fix the issue where he can use his locks to reset progression, but I don't feel like explaining that here. I may or may not be a family man, so I don't even know if I want them to fix that bug. But moving on here. This is technically just Cook buffs at this point. They're fixing the issue here with Cook's visibility of his padlocks on Slaughterhouse. So for those who do not know, basically sometimes the padlocks will be a little hard to see depending on where you're positioned on the sliding doors. They need to do this for gates too, as gates are always impossible to see his padlocks on. Now they have nuggets and bone scraps. This is fixing issues where a victim can stab nugget and keep their bone scrap. I've never had this issue happen. I stab nuggets all the time. I, however, have seen an issue where you throw Virginia's boon at a chicken and it consumes a bone scrap. So they fixed this as they list this as an issue in the Mortar Times on the temp, and they have yet to fix that two patches later. So I'm kind of wondering how hard is it for them to fix this issue with Virginia's boon and bone scraps if it's been like 20 days and two updates and still nothing. But lastly, they just fixed some localization issues for Virginia, so that's not very important. So speaking of the Morto Times, they have still not listed any fixes for Grandpa's interactions or the trap and barbed wire interaction. So I'm hoping by the next update in 2 weeks, I believe it should be May the 16th or something like that, that we get that, or the 14th, one of those days. We finally see those two in here. But geez, these are just some crazy fixes. I knew they're going to be nerfing at least six perks they teased from the community check-in, but I didn't think they're going to be nerfing as many perks as they end up touching up on, and not nearly this hard. So that's it for this video. I can't think of anything else really to say or go on with this video. I am now going to go ahead and play probably Victim, to be honest, and just enjoy all the perks while I can before they just gut them. And I might play a little bit of Family, honestly, too, because after this update, I'm probably gonna respect Sissy and go over to her universal donor side. I might put Scout on Leatherface. It's just I predict that the family queues are going to be a lot longer, at least tomorrow, after all these changes. As I think more people go to play Victim to Family, which isn't a bad thing. This is actually good for victim mains. Now your queues might be a little shorter. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with more to come. And let's get the comments going. What do you guys think about these changes? I already seen a lot of people complaining on Reddit and X, I'm still calling it Twitter, about these changes, and no one's very happy. But the thing is, they're kind of called victim for a reason, guys. You're supposed to die and be at a disadvantage to the family if you want to be a survivor. There's other games where you're rightly called survivors. So thanks for watching and take care.